Hey there, my name by birth's Alex William Smith, but I'm better known now as Jonathan Royal, hypnotist of magicalguru.co.uk, and I'm one of the many victims of Rupert Murdoch's now disgraced fake Sheikh Mazher Mahmood. I'm making this short video on Wednesday the 19th of July 2023, which is a very significant date indeed. It's significant because the 19th of July is also the date when The Guardian ran an article. And the article I refer to was run on Friday, the 19th of July 2013, some 10 years ago today. Headline: Tulisa entrapped by Sun on Sunday. Singer's manager outlines complaint in letter to Common Select Committee chairman. The key takeaways from that article are that the manager of singer and TV celebrity Tulisa Contostavlos has written to the chairman of the Culture and Media Select Committee to complain about Sun on Sunday sting operation on his client. Jonathan Shallett's letter to Tory MP John Whittingdale expresses his grave concern about the article published on the 2nd of June 2013, thus being 10 years ago. And the journalist method used to obtain it, arguing that it amounted to entrapment. The front page story headline: Tulisa's cocaine deal shame was billed as a world exclusive and written by the former News of the World investigations editor Mazher Mahmood, the fake Sheikh. And we know with hindsight that this was complete and utter nonsense, as were the vast majority, if not all, of Mahmood's stories. Then, on the 21st of July 2014, some 9 years ago this week, The Guardian ran this: Tulisa Contostavlos trial collapses as judge criticises son's Mazher Mahmood. Newspaper faces court cost and career of fake Sheikh may be over after ruling he interfered with witness, then lied under oath. Following the collapse of the Tulisa Contostavlos trial, within which Mazher Mahmood and his driver Alan Smith were exposed as having lied, BBC's Panorama had been working on an expose of Mahmood's dishonest and often illegal activities and techniques of entrapment, manipulation, lying and fabrication, which finally did air on Wednesday, the 12th of November 2014. The reason I say finally did air is because, as reported in The Guardian on Monday, the 10th of November 2014, the BBC pulled the fake Sheikh Panorama expose after legal twist because basically there was legal shenanigans and attempts to block this being broadcast because apparently Mahmood claimed that he would be in danger if his identity was revealed. Interestingly, the Press Gang website ran this: number 10, silent on fake Sheikh intervention. You'll find the link to the full article on my blog page, which is located at the link above or below this video. But in short, the Attorney General, Jeremy Wright, tried to persuade the BBC, the corporation, not to broadcast the investigation into fake Sheikh Mazher Mahmood. Big questions have to be asked as to why, that have still not really been fully answered. The day that the fake Sheikh expose, BBC Panorama expose, finally aired, namely the 12th of November 2014, there were calls to probe all other fake Sheikh stories. The record of undercover reporter Mazher Mahmood, the fake Sheikh, needs to be re-examined, an ex-Attorney General has told Panorama. Lord Goldsmith said the fact that the judge in the failed trial of Tulisa Contostavlos said he had lied was reason to look again at all his other stories. By December 2014, it was being reported that The Metropolitan Police's Operation Silverhawk, an investigation into Sun on Sunday's fake Sheikh Mazher Mahmood, was being led by Commander Martin Hewitt, who was one of the senior investigators in Operation Varric, which was part of John Yates' discredited investigation into phone hacking at the News of the World in 2010. You can see this full article at the link above or below this video, but in other words, people have asked questions on the validity of Operation Silverhawk, which incidentally only ended up investigating the collapse Tulisa Contostavlos case and did not look into any of Mahmood's other dishonesty or, as we now know, years later, definitely illegal activities. In my opinion, and that of many others, it's still not been explained why it took until the 29th of September 2015 for the fake Sheikh Mazher Mahmood and his driver Alan Smith to be charged over the collapse of the Tulisa Contostavlos trial and the fact that the judge exposed them as lying and conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. Finally, on the 5th of October 2016, the fake Sheikh Mazher Mahmood was found guilty of tampering with Tulisa trial evidence. And then, on Friday, the 21st of October 2016, Mazher Mahmood, the fake Sheikh, was jailed for 15 months. The undercover reporter was sentenced after being found guilty of tampering with evidence in the collapsed drug trial of Tulisa Contostavlos. As I, along with boxer Herbie Hides, model and actress Emma Morgan, and actor John Elford were all at the Old Bailey to see Mazher Mahmood sentenced, that evening we appeared on BBC's flagship news programme Newsnight to discuss our experiences as victims of Mahmood's lies, dishonesty, manipulation, threats behind the scene, and a whole bunch of other things, which you can find out about at the links above or below this video. Potentially a massive can of worms is referred to by this Bellingcat article from November the 20th, 2014, headed Mazher Mahmood, silence from the Met Police, Crown Prosecution Service and Attorney General as Lord Goldsmith calls for re-examination whilst Beckham kidnap lawyer calls for an inquiry. A key quote being on the subject of Mahmood's claim that his evidence has secured over 100 convictions, Lord Goldsmith told Panorama, the fact that someone who has been accused by a judge of not telling the truth, well, we know he definitely didn't because he got convicted for conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, so he definitely did not tell the truth, may be instrumental in those convictions, would certainly be a reason to look at those convictions again and to examine them to see whether they are safe. And a week later, still silence from the Met Police or CPS on Lord Goldsmith's call for a full review of historical Mahmood cases going back decades. A full historical review of his cases has not taken place. Indeed, at this time, at the end of 2014, letters were sent to Alison Saunders, the Director of Public Prosecutions, and also the Commissioner of the Met Police, calling for investigations into all of Mahmood's previous cases where more and more evidence was coming to light of dishonesty, entrapment, manipulation, lies, and arguably illegal techniques. And yet nothing to this day, as we make this video on the 19th of July 2023, has ever been done. Some have made comments along the lines of, can you say the words cover up? Another interesting Bellingcat article, again it'll be at the blog link above or below this video. Did Scotland Yard cover up Beckham's kidnap evidence so the fake Sheikh could be their star witness? Well worth a read. It's all about the ridiculous Beckham kidnap case, which finally was proven to have no substance whatsoever many years later, and the implications of all that. And one has to ask, bearing in mind that the 3rd of November 2023 will be the 21st anniversary of this nonsense. As I say, visit the link above or below. It's certainly worthy of questioning why this was ever allowed to occur, and with some would suggest the Met Police being involved and helping to encourage things along, some may say. Again, I quote from this particular article, this one being from Byline from July the 16th, 2015. The article is at the link above or below this, but briefly. The first question, therefore, is who put pressure on the Attorney General to intervene in a BBC documentary, which was delayed twice under legal pressures? Was it the Crown Prosecution Service, the police, Mahmood's lawyers at Kingsley Napley, or News UK, or a combination of those above? Questions that have not been fully answered. Persistent questions about Mahmood and Operation Canopus. The second question relates to an investigation of Mahmood's story-gathering talents over a decade ago. To be precise, it took place in 2005. So as we are now in July 2023, that is 18 years ago off the top of my head. The point being, his techniques had been questioned by courts well before the collapse of trial against Tulisa Contostavlos earlier in 2014. In 1999, during the trial of Lord Ardwick, the jury was so shocked about the sting set up by Mahmood that they wrote a note to the judge, Timothy Pontius. Had we been allowed to take the extreme provocation into account, we would undoubtedly have reached a different verdict, they said. The judge gave a suspended sentence and said to Hardwick, were it not for that elaborate sting, you would not, I accept, have committed these particular offences. Journalists in general, and those involved in this case in particular, should carefully examine and consider their approach to investigations where it involves no police participation, or indeed until after the trap has been sprung and the story reported in the press. A year later, another fake Sheikh sting on Roderick Giggs, brother of the famous footballer, ended in a not guilty verdict, and the judge suggested the prosecutors should be investigating Mahmood instead for supplying drugs. In June 2003, one of the biggest fake Sheikh stories about the plot to kidnap Victoria Beckham collapsed. Judge Simon Smith, in a hearing at Middlesex Guildhall Crown Court, said he was referring the news of the world to the Attorney General after their defence lawyers claimed it had shown complete contempt for the administration of justice. The judge responded, I am minded to refer the whole of this matter to the Attorney General to consider the temptations which money being offered in return for stories, in particular about celebrities, gives rise to, and the way in which newspaper investigations may have a detrimental effect on ultimate court proceedings. And then, of course, in September 2003, a former associate of Mahmood's, Florin Gashi, who had been involved in the collapsed Beckham kidnap trial, was alleging all kinds of wrongdoing in the various stings he'd been involved in. This prompted an initial police inquiry into Mahmood. Operation Canopus, which lasted until September 2005, but which, basically, whatever it found's been swept under the carpet because Mahmood was allowed to carry on lying and manipulating things until the collapse of Tulisa's trial in 2014. Since then, tons of things have come to light, most recently in the past couple of years, namely 2020 and 2021 into 2022, which has led to, as you can see on thompsonheath.com/expertise/phone-hacking, there is the phone hacking page, and it's all about the people here who've taken cases against news group newspapers. The register of claims in the current fourth wave, you can click on there, and if you do the due diligence and look through, you'll find on this list numerous victims of the fake Sheikh who have now discovered in the past couple of years, only in the past couple of years, that their phones were hacked or other unlawful information gathering techniques were used. And of course, I am one of those people. In my birth name, Alex William Smith, with that case number and the details as per the link above or below this video. As well as checking out my link above or below this video, be sure to check out also the other link of hackinginquiry.org Mahmood. In particular, this section above the law. Go, watch the powerful testimony from former model and now actress Emma Morgan, one of Mahmood's victims, that illustrates that it turns out that he was all elements of the supply chain. They actually supplied the drugs in Emma's case, as it were, to make it possible to manipulate the fabricated story. Similar to my case, where they ultimately supplied the counterfeit coins and the money and the information and everything to make it happen, as explained at circusofthemind.net. And of course, the video from former MP Dr. Evan Harris, who is now helping victims of media abuse, and in particular Mazher Mahmood, to uncover the facts that has come to light during 2021, thereabouts, that many of his victims had their phones hacked and other unlawful information gathering techniques used, and other illegal activities as well. As I say, come this November 2023, it will be the 21st anniversary of the ridiculous Beckham kidnap plot news of the world story, which still raises many questions, and including, of course, how close Mazher Mahmood was to high-ranking Met police officers. In fact, at one time he bragged about having bent police officers in his pocket, as can be seen at the links above or below this video. Also, in this same week, check out my blog page from the 17th of July about the Daniel Morgan murder, the fact that the Met police are reportedly, according to some newspapers, to pay the family $2 million over corrupt murder investigation, which is the most investigated case in British history, where 5 investigations by the Met have failed to yield a conviction. It's an interesting read, and there's links to other stuff on there. And one of the things that is, of course, mentioned amongst this is the number of times that Mazher Mahmood's name comes up in the Daniel Morgan murder inquiry report in relation to the News of the World messing around with and interfering with one of the many police investigations. Also, check out my blog page again, the links above or below this video. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, and his quest for truth to be exposed and justice to be served on the Daily Mail, Associated Newspapers, Mirror Group newspapers, and of course Rupert Murdoch's News Group newspapers. Interesting in particular is stuff you will find on there about how Mazher Mahmood, the fake Sheikh, was involved at one time in an attempted drug sting on Prince Harry. The rabbit hole is very deep indeed. On the 9th of July 2022, so some 1 year and 10 days to be precise, prior to this video being made, it was reported that Amazon Prime are to lift the lid on the News of the World's fake Sheikh dubbed King of the Sting. Apparently there is a new 3-part documentary series that's being made by Voltage Television for Amazon Prime, and that should be appearing on our screens in the near future. So watch this space, as they say. Ultimately, as one of Mazher Mahmood's victims of his lies, his deceit, as we've now established, also his criminal activities, including phone hacking, unlawful information gathering, and also I have statements from former colleague of his stating that he'd witnessed Mahmood drugging people during the course of his sting stories, and I believe that my drinks were spiked. Tulisa made the same assertion, as have many celebrity victims of Mahmood's over the years, as illustrated via the links you'll find above or below this video and at circusofthemind.net. I continue to strive for truth, honesty and justice for all media abuse victims, but also particularly for victims of Mazher Mahmood. That inquiry into all his stories should happen. I believe that none, possibly 1 or 2, who knows, but definitely the ones I've looked at, the vast majority, if not all, of the convictions related to Mazher Mahmood, namely ones that have been acquired as a result of his fabricated sting stories where he's lied under oath, the evidence would seem to now show numerous times well, they're unsafe. They should be overturned. All of them. All of them. It's a gross miscarriage of justice. Please share this video on the links that are above and below it far and wide.